My personal goal is to change the conversation about arts in a multilingual family, so families that speak both languages. Just because theater is so important. I mean, I think if I hadn't been in theater, I wouldn't have grown up to be the person that I am today.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Latina Leadership Series. I am your host, and my name is Angelica Casares. And on today's episode, I'm here at the Tony Award-winning Alley Theater. Right behind me, you can see it's an amazing space. It's an amazing spot. But today, I want to talk about my guests. So, next to me, who do I have? Who are you? Introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Elena Valladolid-Rivera, and I am the manager of Emerging Audiences, Audiencias Emergentes. My big role is working with the Education and Community Engagement Department to bring in the youth into our theater. So I oversee student matinees, which is student performances during the school day for them to come and see it as a field trip with a big group of students. They're really always very magical, cool. And bringing theater to elementary schools. So Oscar touring shows is a big program I manage.
Nice. Okay, bueno, Elena. So we talked a little bit about what your role is here. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, I do want to ask you some questions. Because on here, I interview some amazing Latina leaders. And I see you in the space and I hear you. How did you start? How did you end up at the Alley Theater?
Wow. So I was a dancer, and from dancing, that's how I became involved in the arts. I went to student matinees myself during high school.
Okay.
And so I think the arts were just a very big, important part of me. And so in college, I continued to study theater as a stage manager, and I knew I wanted to continue to do it, but in the administrative role, specifically so that we can continue to bring youth programming to other students with my same background, and also to my own Hispanic community.
Yeah.
So a big thing at the Alley here too that I do and that I oversee is the Hispanic initiatives.
Yes.
Where we are opening up our spaces. We are making it accessible in both language and making the space more welcoming, so that all of the Hispanics around this Houston community can come.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let me dial it back because I am going to get into the nitty-gritty. Okay. I am going to talk about the initiative. I am going to talk about the emerging audience that you guys have going on here. But I want to get to really know you. Just for a moment, just for a second. I want the audience to know that how they can engage with you and how they can rely on you to tell your story, to see how it is that they can also do what you're doing, or potentially work at a theater or have a role like yours. So you were a dancer, like a professional dancer?
Not a professional dancer. I took a couple of classes, and dancing sort of became like a hobby of mine. But I was always involved in the administrative side of theater. So I started off as a stage manager for many years while I was in undergrad, and then I went to graduate school and I got my MFA and MBA at California State University, Long Beach. So that's how I'm more involved in the administrative and have a more successful role, I think.
Yeah,
but yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely took a lot of years for me to get to where I'm at.
Okay, so now here we go. So how did you switch into the role that you have now? Is there something, was there a conversation that had to be had? Because as you know, Houston is very diverse. We're about more than 50% of the population here in Houston. Hispanics are.
Yeah.
So how did your role come about? I knew there was a lack of, but how did that conversation go, or how did your role come about?
I think it was a personal passion of mine. I mean, my family doesn't really speak English. They were coming to theater with me, and I was like, thank you for coming, but I know you didn't get it. Yeah. And we moved to Houston. My husband and I decided to move to Houston. So this is going to get personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got married. My husband is from Mexico. And so we went through the whole immigration process. He's only been here for about 2 years. And while we were going through that process, I started working here right out of grad school. And so when I was graduating grad school, we were sort of trying to decide where we would be or where we would end up as a family. And well, he has family here, so that's how we ended up in Houston.
Okay.
And well, I also had family here too, so so it was like, well, neither of us will be alone.
Yeah.
But now I think, and how my role has sort of evolved into what this Hispanic initiative sort of calls for, is because my husband can't really come to the theater with me, and I want him to be able to. and to be able to understand what is going on our stages and see like his stories also being reflected on our stages. So Spanish caption performances came about, and so tonight is actually the first performance we'll be able to come together for What a Christmas.
For What a Christmas. Yeah, so that was my next step. So What a Christmas. For those who don't know or aren't from Texas, if I can say this, I hope this is okay. Whataburger is a big thing for us. It's like a late night snack. It's an early morning breakfast. Like it's in our DNA. How did it come about? How did that conversation to bring in those writers, those performances into like how did that develop?
Yes. So when our artistic director, Rob Melrose, first came to the Alley, his big job was to both write a new play for our Hubbard Theater, which is our bigger space, and then also commission a new play for a more intimate Newhouse Theater space. And so when he was looking at writers, what he was really looking for was for somebody to celebrate Houston's diverse community.
Yeah.
And Isaac Gomez's proposal did exactly that. It it is set in this very famous, very Houstonian loved fast food chain.
It is. And I can say it.
You can say it.
I can say it. But it is. It's very much loved. And I read kind of the synopsis of it. Like Scrooge comes about and visits and, because late night, because again, it's late nights at 2:00, like, type of dinner for us sometimes. So it goes through this process of he finds himself, and it's a throwback to what play. So What a Christmas is.
It is similar to what we have going on upstairs in the Hubbard Theater, A Christmas Carol, which is a universal story of this very lonely man who is visited by 3 ghosts so that he can change his life and so that he is able to, so that they can touch his heart, and like he's able to like then be a very loving person who actually goes and sees his family and is no longer alone and doesn't have a very lonely, sad fate. So Margot, who is the star of this one-woman show by a Latina, so she's also very fabulous, in What a Christmas has put her dreams sort of on pause for a very personal reason.
Okay.
And so she's working the Christmas Eve shift at this fast food joint, and she is visited by 3 ghosts in hopes that she can also sort of get her life together again and go back to what her dreams and her goals were before this very important moment in her life happened.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of Latinas. Sometimes there's a shift that happens within us, and then we stop, and then we start, and then we forget in the process why we're doing things, and then we continue. Yeah, it is very personal. It is a very Hispanic. Yeah. Okay. So the initiative happened with the emerging audience, and then you got the Christmas Carol. What's next?
What's next? So we want to continue to develop our plays and such, to continue to have Spanish caption performances and eventually evolve into simultaneous translations. So the next play that we will have Spanish caption performances will be for Torera, which is a story about a Mexican bullfighter who in the world of love and things will then also find herself, and I don't want to give too much away about that story.
Yeah.
But this I think Torera is going to be one of those stories where we will also see a lot of us on this very stage.
On the stage.
House, yes.
So I have, near and dear to me are the theaters. I love them. I'm always buying tickets to plays, and sometimes I don't even go to the plays because I don't even have the time, but I'm always I'm always doing that to like go. I know that our Hispanic community, sometimes they have those stops of like, well, like your parents, like I can go, but I'm not going to understand anything. So now that this is accessible and this is available for them to be able to enjoy some shows, how do you get them to come? How do you tell them that this is here for them?
That is the big work that we are doing. That is slow work that happens as people begin to recognize us as a theater that is for them, as a theater that welcomes them, like in every level of them, right? Like we don't need you to come to the theater dressed up in like the most fanciest clothes. Come in whatever you're comfortable in, as long as it's not like your PJs and things. But like we welcome everybody at any level. We also understand that there are cost barriers. So we're also, through this initiative, we're also starting to develop programs that will break down some of those cost barriers, maybe even transportation barriers. And those are just things that we're just starting off, and we'll eventually see more of as we bring in more of our community into the space.
It sounds like a wraparound type of initiative to sit there and bring the audience into the theater to enjoy the theater.
Yes.
For example, like I didn't even know, like the Christmas behind us, I didn't even know that you can actually come and just off the street and enjoy them.
Yeah.
I thought you had to have like a ticket to like walk into the doors. And this is something that they can just enjoy. Like, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, we specifically, I think my personal goal is to change the conversation about arts in a multilingual family. So families that speak both languages.
Yeah.
Just because theater is so important. I mean, I think if I hadn't been in theater, I wouldn't have grown up to be the person that I am today. All of my sisters were also involved in some arts, and we're all pretty successful, I think. And so I just want to see more of us in positions like this and spaces like this that are predominantly known to be white. Yeah, so that's, I think.
That is so awesome. Okay, so I know there's groups also that have been formed within the theaters to also try to promote and bring in the Hispanic, or to lead out, to bring the writers, the directors, like everybody to come in and enjoy the space, and also sometimes by Hispanics for Hispanics, right? So there is an initiative here that I have some friends in, so the Socola group.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about them.
So El Zócalo is started about 3 or 4 years ago with Misa Fronteriza. Misa Fronteriza was a play that was brought into our new house stage from Monterrey, Mexico, and we did simultaneous translations. And that was one of our first attempts at bringing in the Hispanic community with the play that was in their language. And then from there, and with the help of our friend Valdemar, it has evolved so much. It is so much stronger than ever. We are really seeing people come to the theater and really enjoy being here. And it is just an initiative that sets itself out to promote culture and arts for our Latinx artists.
Don't miss the Spanish casual performances for our holiday comedy for adults, What a Christmas, on December 2nd, 9th, and 17th. Meet Houston's very own female Scrooge and put laughter at the center of your holiday season. Details at alleytheater.org.
I'm going to come back really quick to the conversation about you. So you've been here for how long?
I've been here for 3 years in July.
How was the transition from you to come from there here to be with your husband? And you do have some family, right? But sometimes you separate yourself from what you're very close to. I'm assuming your parents are still back there in California.
My parents are still back in California.
Yes. So how was the transition for you?
I think it was exciting for me to be in a new place doing the thing that I loved the most. So when I first moved to Houston, my husband wasn't here yet. So I was alone for about a year or so before he actually moved in with me, or before we were able to get his visa approved and all that jazz. So I was living alone. I was living by myself in Houston. So I didn't get to see much of what Houston really was until now. And now we have a 3-year-old. And so now we're exploring the world with her. And
amazing.
Yeah, I think it was just really exciting because there were so many moments that were happening. Like I was pregnant here. I have my own little Houstonian now.
How cute! That's amazing. So your parents are there. Do they get to visit you? A lot of times it's very hard for Latinas to leave their family in such a big way and start on their own in another place. And do you feel like that transition has happened for you?
So that transition probably happened for me when I went to undergrad. So I moved away for college.
Okay.
And I'm super grateful that I've always have had the support of my parents 100%, like wherever it is that I've always wanted to be at. So I moved 6 hours away from my parents when I went to undergrad, and I think that was my first big step into like being alone, but also very exciting. And I think that particular moment came sort of at the right time. And I think so when I moved to Houston, even though it was in a different state, I wasn't as scared. Again, I had the support of my family. They've always been able to come visit me. I will sometimes go to California and go visit them, and also visit Disneyland because we used to live like 50 minutes away. So you
got to go back.
Yeah, I always got to go back.
So, okay, one of the questions that I ask all my Latinas on here is what advice would you give, now that I hear your story, what advice would you give to those Latinas who are afraid of moving away and starting off fresh or starting something different from what they are like known to do? And the second question would be is like, how do I get involved in the theater? I love, like me, I would have loved to get involved in my second life probably, but how can I also get involved? How can I also be part of the theater if I have such a passion for it?
Yeah, well, to answer the first sort of piece of advice, which is always really hard for me because I know many of us that sort of want to leave, or I hear many stories of people that like want to go away for college or want to do this thing, but then in the back of their minds it's always like, well, will my parents be upset? Will my parents get mad at me? Or like, what if I don't have my parents' support? And I never really know what to say because I know our parents are such a big, important part of our lives. And that idea of defying a parent isn't always like the most logical thing to do.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm super grateful that I have my parents' support, but like also follow your dreams. At the end of the day, it is our lives. We're at a point in time where like we are dependent of our parents, but we also have the wings to fly and to do that ourselves and to set out whatever it is that we want to do in the world. So yeah, I think that's the very first one.
Okay.
And I think open communication is always great. So just be sure to, I was always very open with my parents, and I told them like why it was that I wanted to leave and why it was that I needed to do this next step for me.
Yeah.
And the doors that it would open, and they were always super, super understanding.
That's amazing.
And then the second question, can you repeat it for me?
Absolutely. So the second question was, if I wanted to get involved in the theater just like you, because I see your face and I'm like, oh my God, if I would have met her like when I was 10 years old, I would have been like, so what would you tell little Latinas who want to get involved, who are like, I want to become part of the space. I like the stage, but maybe I'm not an actress and an actor, or maybe I'm not a dancer. Where do I start?
There are so many places to start. Like you said, even if you're not an actress, because I always said I'm not an actress, and I always knew that I wasn't a dancer. I loved doing it, but that's not who I was. But I knew I wanted to be involved for so many different reasons. So I looked into different avenues. You can do the props that are on stage, the things that actors bring on and off the stage. That's something you can do. You can do the scenery, build those sets, those beautiful, beautiful sets. You can even design the lights, you can design the costumes, there's a lot. If you're into the marketing world, like in the administrative side, that's a huge part. We have our development department who usually ask big donors and the people who have money to give us money, because nonprofit theaters usually are like, we only get 35% of our revenue from ticket sales, so we depend a lot on donors. And that's like a huge job. And right now, in this day and age, in this workforce, we're looking for lots of Latinas in that development world.
That's amazing. That's good to know. That's good to know. So now you know, like if you're looking for a career, it's probably part of the fundraising and developing networking, that kind of thing. And if it's your thing, this might be a space for you to be able to move into. So, okay. What we're recording this now, but what is actually taking place within the next few days? So which acts are like happening? I know it's a Christmas. What a Christmas.
What a Christmas and a Christmas Carol.
And a Christmas Carol.
Yes. So What a Christmas is happening downstairs. And then our next caption performance for What a Christmas is December 17th at 7 p.m.
December 17th at 7 p.m. So if you want, buy the tickets, bring your parents, because they'll be able to understand also what's going on the, not just the music, not just it's amazing. It's beautiful to watch things in person. It's beautiful to watch performances in person. So they won't be able just to watch it. They'll be able to understand it. So December 17th at 7 p.m. Buy the tickets. Okay. To wrap this one up, is there something that I missed that you would love to include? Oh, yes. Where would I go to buy the tickets, by the way?
You would go to alleytheater.org, and you will, and then we have a box office too, but everywhere you will see that there's like buy tickets. Specifically, if you're looking for those caption performances, or it's a certain like seating sections that you need to be aware of. So I know that in the new house, it's in the east section, rows E through F or something like that, D through F or something like that.
Okay.
The box office has the best information for you.
So call the box office. If the website's not giving you a lot of information, call the box office. They will definitely, the ladies down there will definitely be able to give you more.
Yes.
Yeah.
alitheater.org/Ali
gimme.
en Español
Uh-huh.
has all of the information for subtitled performances.
Awesome. So here is the booklet. Here's one of the booklet that actually happens.
like
This is cool.
Yeah.
So What a Christmas is happening. Remember December 17th at 7 p.m. Bring yourself, bring your husband, bring your daughter, and bring your parents. They can all enjoy it. Everybody can enjoy it. Absolutely.
The best thing about this show
Uh-huh.
is that you can actually, for the very first time, we have been allowed to take drinks in the seats.
Oh.
So bring everybody, and you can have a nice little cocktail while you're sitting and
That's
watching the
they've
show.
never allowed that before.
No, this is completely new. So we're all very excited, even us.
It is very exciting. So your dad wants a beer, you want a beer, you can also have that. In addition to this, we also have a promo code for that day.
Which is El Zócalo, all in caps. Zócalo does not have an accent, so it's just ELZOCALO, and you can type that in, and you will get, I believe it's $6 off of your ticket.
Nice.
Yes.
So they want you to come. They're giving you discounts. They're closed captioned. Yeah, there's no more excuses for you not to be able to enjoy something that your kids might want to enjoy, and you might even enjoy it yourself. So come buy the tickets. It's very much enjoyable. I've heard of it. I haven't watched it yet, but before I leave, I need to watch it. So
Before you leave,
yes.
we'll get you a ticket.
Yeah.
Watch it.
Yes. Okay. Is there something that I missed that you would like to include outside from the alitheater.com? Correct?
alitheater.org.
.org. Is there anything else that we left out that you would like to include, that you would like to share with us?
I just want to say that all of this initiatives and all of this work that we're doing, that we are putting so much effort and so much love into, is for you all
Yes.
to come to the theater and feel
Yes.
welcome in a space that has never really been for us, but we are now trying to make it for you. So.
Oh, and with that, I'll wrap it up there because that was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. Entonces, with that, thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.